Welcome to episode 10 of Cheap Cans, Broken Vans and Basement Bar Bands. We've got to the end of our initial 10 episodes where we revisit the first 100 releases on TNSrecords as if we've got 100 releases. That is absolutely ludicrous. We have made the decision that we might carry this on, and every 10 releases we'll do another podcast. And I've also made the decision to celebrate reaching the final episode by drinking this 11% can. I apologize in advance for the nonsense I talk about 3 releases into this.
Well, I managed this like earlier in the series, so it's only right that you should. I'm on a Schindinger again. It's only 5%. Lush.
Well, this is a very nicely branded, beautiful label. Twisted Wheel Brewing Company. 11%. Friday on my mind. It's Saturday, but who knows what day this will go out. It will be a Wednesday. That's when it will go out.
What are you drinking there, Kaz?
Going back to TNS Roots cider.
Old root cider. But I'm covering it up with this snazzy.
Oh, yeah. I actually have no clue where mine of that is.
Probably in our drawer. That's where they all seem to be.
How's the Aldi vodka going?
We've just cracked a second bottle.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going well. Just
definitely going down.
Yeah.
You guys.
Well, you don't have a problem. You have a problem.
It's clearly 11%.
That's it. If I drank a full bottle of vodka, I'd be on the floor by now.
Give us half an hour when we next stand up. It'll be interesting.
Okay. When we get to 95, we'll get you to spin around the room a few times.
We were having a chat before we went live, and apparently your exercise routine is every time there's an advert break, you do step ups.
Yeah.
So we'll pretend there's an advert break, and then you can go and do so.
It's good as dark.
We'll just leave it in.
Isn't this whole thing an advert break?
Maybe.
Are you trying to make everyone vomit by the end of this? Is that what you're getting at? We have to see 100 in with a pool of mixed
If people don't vomit after 100 releases, we're doing something wrong.
Not good enough.
I've probably vomited at least a number of times at gigs played by the bands who you've released. Does that count?
No.
As long as you've aspired to do that. If you've aspired to do that, it means you've got to follow your dreams.
Follow your dreams.
Nice.
This beer's made me sharper.
My time is just an endless train. It's sicker than that was a now. Every now and then the fucking same. Accumulated weight of history on the stone. What over? Something more. A tiger leap into a future that breaks the chain.
I think you should introduce this, Kaz. Tell us all about it.
I don't know what to say. What do you want to know? So yeah, it was released in fucking hell. When was it released? March, last year, just before lockdown. It's all blurred, hasn't it? This last 12 months. It's one of those things you release and then everything goes to shit, so you don't even get to play.
It's interesting how the band came about, though, isn't it? So obviously, Rising Strike were on TNS very early days, and then you got involved in making a band with those guys. How did that come about?
Yeah, so it was weird actually, because obviously I've never been in a band or done any vocals or anything of the sort, really. And I can't remember what gig it was, but we were at a gig and Tommy from Rising Strike was drunkenly talking to me about, oh, you should do some vocals, like these guys are doing something different. You should definitely join and do some vocals. I was like, where the fuck has this come from? Because I literally have never sung in front of anyone, really. Hardly even in front of you, I think. And I was just like, well, this is a weird conversation, but I'm going to go with it. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, I actually quite like the sound of this. Actually, why not? You got to try things new. And then I can't remember who else. I think it was Boff who I saw at another gig later down, and he mentioned something. And I was like, is this something that actually might happen? And then the next thing I know, I'm in a practice room trying to shout, being very nervous and like held back and like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I'm so scared because I've never even shouted because I'm so placid and I don't ever shout anyway. And then was adamant they were going to be like, yeah, that was shit, you can't come back. And then they were like, you should probably come back. It's like, great.
Oh, nice.
Pretty much in a nutshell.
I mean, well, you absolutely nailed it. Tom described it as me as like you were born to be doing it, like just instantly we're on it. And
that's nice.
You know, you can't listen to that and think, wow, this person's absolutely new to it. It's like such amazing music, complex, ridiculous, so much variation in the sound. It must have been an interesting start to being in a band, though, having to do such complex stuff, but fucking nailed it.
It's pretty, I don't know. I think because I've never done anything else, it just seems normal, I guess. I think if I'd have been in a proper traditional punk band where it's all a bit more straightforward and then gone into that, it might have struggled a bit. But I think because I've gone straight into complicated, mixed up kind of what is it kind of stuff, it's not been that, I don't know, it's not been that hard kind of getting into the swing of it. Like maybe deep down I was made for it, I don't know. Don't want to be a big head, do you? But like, you know, I'm gonna be.
It should be.
That's good.
I think after I'd done a few gigs and stuff, I felt more comfortable, and I think once I got over the initial fear of letting go, I once you feel comfortable, it's a whole different ball game, innit?
What was your first gig? How was that?
High Race, wasn't it? Zoe was there. Zoe gave me motivational shots. And it was 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning, last day of Pie Race. I was shitting myself. I remember even just sound checking, and Zoe and Shawn were sat there, and there was a few other people in the room, and I was like, oh my God, there's like 5 people in this room. This is really scary. And I was like, oh, this is just like nothing, really. But yeah, it was all right. It didn't go that bad, I don't think.
You smashed it. You absolutely smashed it. All of you did.
It was fun. I think after the first song, we were all right. We were into the swing of it then. A whole lifetime ago. Nice.
Well, it's a joint release with us and 5 Feet Under again. It's their 99th release. It's got is it your cats?
Yep. That's Snak with a spoon in his mouth, Mr. Grohl in the bed, and the beautiful Polly on the back.
Do you want to attempt to explain the album name?
So it's based on an Australian study where there was basically, you know, when you have like communal offices and you have in the offices you have like kitchen space that everyone uses. So there was a study based on if there's a lot of spoons in that kitchen, this is in a nutshell, like it's obviously more complex than this, but if there's a lot of spoons within that communal kitchen, people tend to just take them and keep them in the drawers and things like that. But then there becomes no spoons because people think there's a lot of spoons, I'll take them. Does that make sense?
So if there's only one spoon, it gets left there.
Back in. Yeah. So it's like having because there's a lot there, people feel like they can take it. Whereas when there's not a lot there, people put it back to share. So it's just a study based on how the mentality of people when there's a lot of things, I guess. You should read it. The link's on the album for people to understand.
I did read it when you first did it.
Oh, look at that. Some good photography on this.
Yeah.
I think it's made better by the layout. The layout
is what made
mine on that as well. I wonder who did that.
We spent quite a few hours, didn't we, sorting that layout?
Thanks for that again. Thanks for the photos, Bev. We did. I kind of just said, I would kind of like the cats on the front with some spoons lying around.
I mean, you've got that.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
It's very nice. And what a great album to sort of kick off like this episode. It was just like the amount of people who were dead excited about it, and then when you started gigging, everyone was raving about it, and then obviously the whole COVID thing happened and kind of ruined the impact of the album. But I don't think it ruined the impact in terms of what people thought of the music. It just meant you couldn't gig, which is rubbish. But you know,
hopefully it'll just be like a delayed album release type thing. We'll just do it all a bit after, whenever we can.
Yeah, took the opportunity away from you to turn things around on Big Hands, and you be the one that's away all the time gigging.
Oh yeah, I was aiming for that, and I never got to do it.
There's always time. Always time.
Main reason I joined the band, anyway, is because he quit. I didn't want to spend that much time with him.
Aww.
Oh, well.
Only
Poor
joking.
Big Hands.
We
I mean, on that bombshell.
we move on to number 2 for the day.
Woo! Another good one.
See what I did there? Not enough appreciation.
This was a
Unbelievable.
long time in the making, wasn't it? We'd known Brassick for a long time, really been into them as fans of the band and wanted to do something with them, but it just took a while to come together. We'd start stuff in the distro, as we very often do with bands that we really like. It's good to see bands doing stuff on their own before you sort of get involved. I mean, I guess Follow Your Dreams did the same thing, didn't you? You did an EP before TNS got involved. I think that's a good thing to do. But yeah, Brassick did a few things, and you know, we bought their releases because we were really into the band, and then obviously got the opportunity to release this, and it's amazing. And
Yes.
it's a really interesting album, I think, because it wasn't what I was necessarily expecting from it. Like, it's a lot more metal than I was expecting. Obviously, it's got all the hardcore stuff that they're well known for and do so well, but there's massive like metal influences which add a real, you know, another string to the bow. It's not what I was expecting, but they do it so well.
Yeah, definitely. You're right that it even not just waiting for the album, but putting it together and everything around it took a while, didn't it?
Yeah. It's interesting running a label, isn't it? Because you make these decisions to release something and you say, oh, we'll do this album, but you never actually, you don't hear it. Well, most of the time you don't hear it until everything's already in progress. And thankfully, we've not had a situation where we've had something we didn't like. But yeah, but like I say, this one, I was expecting it to be good, but I wasn't expecting all the metal influences, which made it really amazing. Like something that probably, when they can eventually do some gigs on the back of these recordings, will open them up to a whole new audience, I think. Yeah,
it's weird now. We're in the time where, because a lot of these releases were scheduled to come out around MPF, weren't they? So that was kind of going to be the release date. And so, yeah, we're now into COVID period where all these releases have come out during lockdown to some extent, and kind of, I think we've had other releases that are kind of were aimed to come out over this period. So this is all kind of 2020, but didn't happen. Some got pushed back, but the majority of stuff we kind of carried on. There's a few that came out a bit later, and I think that's why the order goes a bit messy.
Glad you did carry on and like release stuff, because it kind of was like all that people had like during that period of time, but there was nothing else happening, and like there was a proper relief that there was still music coming out and still stuff happening,
new stuff that you could listen to.
Yeah, it was like, and it was something to like be part of and get excited about with other people and look forward to, whereas there wasn't much else.
Yeah, I don't know whether it was they like because of that. Well, obviously the good releases and stuff, but we kind of did really well with sales at the start. April onwards.
We had
one of our stronger
period.
years.
We had a period where it slowed a little bit, and there was a few people posting, I don't really want to make people go to the post office and things like that during the first lockdown. But we have this drop and go card, so we can literally just put it through the door. Well, actually, they let us go into the back room at the post office, and we just dump it there with notes on, and they were like, yeah, keep it coming. It's fine. Like, it's easy to socially distance. So we put a post out saying it's totally cool for us to keep posting stuff. And as soon as we did that, it was amazing, really, wasn't it? Like, I think people really wanted to support things. And like you say, people want something to keep them going. They want new things. It's nice to have people still making creative things and making music and any art form, really, isn't it?
And like financially for us, like I know that not everyone was lucky enough to be in this position, but because I was still working and you were still getting a bit of money grant wise, it was like normally we don't really have any hobbies other than punk rock. All of our money goes on getting 2 gigs and going 2 gigs, and so
drinking at gigs.
So we were actually working out like a bit better off monthly than we'd normally be because we weren't going to gigs and spending all our money in pubs. So we had a bit more money to spend on releases and records. And like, I know like we were lucky to be in that situation, and not everyone was, but we found that we've bought more music, if anything, like probably over lockdown than we would do normally. And we bought a lot before lockdown.
Yeah. I wonder.
I bought more 11% £5
Yeah, we bought more posh wine. So we've taken our drinking habit from the pubs to the house.
There's probably also an element where people are less able to buy directly from bands. So it feels like CDs kind of sales picked up a bit, possibly because a lot of people buy CDs at gigs.
Yeah.
So that was, an interesting kind of side of things. But yeah, it's been really good how people have continued to support us, and it kind of helps. It feels like a bit of a risk putting music out when people can't buy direct off bands and bands aren't going out and selling it. And we operate on small margins, so.
Well, right at the beginning, you were kind of thinking along the lines of, well, it's all right, we'll be gigging again in a couple of months and then we'll start selling again. But 11 months down the line, it's kind of like, when is that going to start again?
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. This record's got a bit of was it a matte finish on it as well?
Yeah, it's like a laminate on it.
Laminate, that's the one.
It is very nice.
Yeah, well put together. And this was a joint release with Mass Production in France, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Shall we cut across to the next release?
Shut down, stepping out. I'm not gonna join this shit show. I phase you out, shut you out. There was nowhere left for you to go. Shut down, stepping out. I'm not gonna join this shit show. Phase you out, shut you out. There was nowhere left for you to go. I'm getting my foot down, it's about time.
Oh, this was a bombshell before it started.
Wow, there's some good photography on this.
I guess we have to go right back to the beginning because some people might not know the whole nonsense that surrounds this release. But so there's all sorts of things that just sort of came together. I guess me and Bev had always discussed the idea of promoting a band in a different way and how you sort of cut Knife Club reference. How you cut through all the internet like promotion, and there's so many bands and things like that. How do you get people to know about a new band and the interesting ways you could try and promote a band? But then at the same time, Knife Club kind of came about through a drunken night, didn't it? Like I remember we were at what's it called in Hastings, and then Dan Flanagan and Elliot come up to me and said, will you be in this band? It's called Knife Club. And I was like, I was still in Revenge at the time. And I was like, definitely no. Ask me again when I'm not in Revenge. And then I remember Dan said, would you consider it though? And I went, well, I don't know. I'd always quite fancied just doing vocals in a band, but I don't know if I'd ever do it. And he went, "Don't worry, got a bass player lined up." And then as the night panned out, he kept coming up and saying, "Oh, we've got this band member," and Elliot was like, "Right, we're doing this and doing that." I was like, "I've not committed to this yet." And then at MPF, the April after, Dan just said, well, we were just chatting, and I went, "You know that knife club thing?" I went, "It would be fun, wouldn't it?" And then so then we decided to sort of combine the two ideas and sort of do this band that no one knew who the members were, and try and promote it in a different way and see what happened. And for some people, they thought that was amazing. For some people, they absolutely hated it. But people were like, it was really bizarre, wasn't it? We were like posting stuff, and people were going, who are these dicks or whatever. And you couldn't respond to it because you'd give away that you were involved in it. But I think it was a really kind of interesting project to be involved in. But then musically, when we all got together eventually and we started making music, it was really exciting to play with new people. And then we kind of weirdly did the sort of social distanced writing before anyone had to, because there's members in Leeds, Manchester, Ipswich, Kings Lynn and Hastings. So band practice was a logistical nightmare. But we managed to pull an album together, and yeah, it was fun. But yeah, obviously 2 members of Knife Club on this chat, so I'll stop talking. And what are your 2 memories of everything?
I can't remember how I got asked because it was at a gig and I was drunk, but I was like, yeah, go on, like, why not? But it has genuinely been one of the funniest things that I think, like, playing with Casual is really comfortable. Do you know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing, and they're like my best mates, and they know my ins and outs, and I know theirs. But I think it's always interesting when you join a band and there's that much distance between you all, that like you don't get to that comfortable level, so everything feels like a bit of a challenge, and that's a really good thing, I think. You know, it's kind of like good to push yourselves out of your comfort zone every now and then, and like traveling up to Manchester on trains and like we'd practice and then like go to a gig in Manchester and was going, what are you doing here? I'm just like, I'm just here for the crack. You know what I mean? Like, stop asking me
apparently,
questions.
we practiced at Hastings. You got asked why you were there, and you said just passing through.
Yeah, just passing through.
Well, the night that Zoe went to Hastings, there was a gig in Ipswich.
Yeah, shit,
and I went to the Ipswich gig on my own, and literally every single person was like, "Where's Zoe? Why isn't Zoe here?" Like literally everyone was there, and I was like,
"She's dead."
she's all right. Like, you know, not wanting to lie to every single person, but also not being quick enough to think of an excuse, and like just going, "She's all right. She's just doing something."
It's hard being in the know without being in the band. I think everyone always asked me questions, and I was like,
Yeah. I think we were quite good at putting like false information out there, like the amount of people who were going, "I'm not even in it. Why do people keep asking me if I'm in it?"
What I don't understand is like, because obviously there was a couple of pictures that came out where like it was all silhouettes and stuff, and obviously I'm like 3 foot smaller than everyone else in the band, and I was like looking at it, I was like, it's so obviously me. It's so obvious. Like, there's this 2 foot fucking little silhouette. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, how nobody got it from that, I don't know. How good were you at like different members were good at keeping it a secret, weren't they? So some who kept it from their bandmates and who didn't?
Was it Danny who didn't even he didn't tell anyone?
No,
like,
Holly didn't know. So after your wedding, Bev, we were on the piss. We were back at Emily's house getting hammered, and then we got chatting about it. And Holly just went, "Are you in a band with Andy and Big Hands?" And you haven't even told me, because we were like, it was like me, Big Hands, Kaz, Holly, Danny, Joe, and like maybe a couple of other people sitting in the kitchen just chatting about it, not keeping it very secret. And then
I remember we played a gig for Last Gang in Town, and obviously by that point you had already hit Last Gang and asked for a gig. So Alec spoke to Ed and said, "So who's in Knife Club?" And Ed knew, but was like, "I can't possibly tell you. I can't possibly tell you who's in Knife Club." And he was like, "Well, I know one of you's in Knife Club." And he's like, "No, I'm not allowed to tell anyone. Zoe's told me I can't tell anyone." And like he knew, because obviously you'd already asked for a gig, but he did a really good job at saying, "I can't tell you. I'm not allowed to tell you."
I couldn't possibly.
It was absolutely ridiculous how many people wanted to book it as well. Like, so when the whole concept started, I just messaged a few people who had booked all the other bands and just said, "This is the idea, like, keep it to yourself. Would you be interested?" But then as soon as things started going out, like, Dan runs like the social media and stuff, but like we just kept getting messages of people going, "I'll just book it," when they hadn't heard anything, which again I think is an interesting thing socially in terms of the scene and stuff, isn't it?
I think deep down people were quite excited by it. I think it's a real shame that you didn't get to do your first gig when planned, but I think it created so much chatter. Like, it was a really interesting way of promoting stuff because so many people were talking about it. And at gigs, people were like, "Do you know who's in Knife Club? Do you know who's in Knife Club?" And it got it out there, didn't it? And I thought it was a really good way.
It was a different way of promoting things, and it was at least that, if nothing else.
Yeah, well, that's the problem at the moment, is that everyone does the same thing, and it's the way the algorithms are, and it's really hard to grab people's attention and get them to actually look at something, because there's 101 things competing for your attention all the time, and most of those things are set up to be more intelligent in the way it does that than we could do in any way. Like, get clicks, get people's attention, get people moving to stuff. So you've got to try hard to break through, and you've got to have that regular kind of putting things in front of people. And that's why we still do quite a lot of physical stuff, and how we, use the newsletters and put stuff out with records, and like with Knife Club, we got the flyers out everywhere, didn't we? So, and in places all over the country, with people having kind of no understanding where they would come from. So, yeah,
it's a shame we're not going to get to see. It's a shame we're not going to get to see people's reaction to the gigs of when they would have been, I think, because I think a lot of people have made their mind up whether they were going to like it or not before they even heard it. And now
all about
there's been a couple of things out, and they know who it is, and they've heard the songs and stuff. It's changed people's reaction, I think.
Yeah, it's almost as if like we planned it for it to go this ridiculous, but obviously we didn't, of course. But the fact that, I mean, people keep asking me, "Oh, are you annoyed that you didn't get to play those gigs?" And I'm like, every single member of the band thinks it's funny that we built up all this hype and then it just went. Zoe was saying about like comfort zones and stuff. It seems like a bit of a cocky project, doesn't it, on a level? But it was a massive nervous. Everyone was a massive nervous wreck, weren't they? Because we were out of our comfort zones. We hadn't really played with. Me and Big Hands had been in the same band for 14 years, playing with the same people, and you get into that sort of really comfortable mode. And you've said the same about Casual Nausea, and I think it didn't have any cockiness about it, did it? Everyone was just like,
but that was what that's almost what felt so safe about it, is like from my, like, from a very like personal point of view, it's like the first time I came up to practice with you guys, kind of like what you were saying, Kaz, in terms of follow your dreams. I was like, fucking hell, I'm gonna go do this thing and they're gonna hate it, and then they're gonna have to tell me they don't want me in the band, and that's fine. Do you know what I mean? I was like totally ready to, like, oh yeah, you're not really what we're looking for. Like, not because like of any like bad reason, if that makes sense, but just in my own head, as I'm sure like we all kind of struggle. But it was really nice kind of getting there and kind of realizing that everyone was in the same place mentally, and everyone was like, oh fucking hell, oh what there was so many apologies to each other. Do you know what I mean? Sorry. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, it felt like I'd come home again. Do you know what I mean? It was like just surrounded by really lovely people, kind of all sort of struggling with the same things almost, you know, and you realise the safety in numbers, and that, I don't know, I can't really explain it, words and that in it, but like,
I don't know for everyone else, but for myself, I kind of, other than my first band I was ever in, and being in bands of Andy all the way through, every person else who joined a band or a band I was in, I didn't know them. That was the first time I met them. like even Dave, the first time I met Dave was when he started playing with Revenge, well, with McGraw. And the first time I really properly met Matt was when he started playing Revenge. Whereas when we did Knife Club, I knew you all already. We were all really good mates, and you might have had that nervous thing going into it, but then as soon as you just started playing, it was just like, oh yeah, in a room with mates, it's easy.
That's kind of it. Just became very natural very quickly, and you kind of realise that everything you sort of hyped up in your own head is just like, it's fine. You know, we've all like played with each other's bands over the years, we've all stayed in each other's houses over the years, and you just kind of realise it's like, oh, actually, no, they're all really nice.
I'd said for years, I'd love to have a go at just doing vocals and not playing an instrument. And then it happened. And I think for ages I was thinking, well, this isn't actually going to happen. And then all of a sudden we were in a practice room and I was like, oh, what the fuck do I do with my other hand? I remember saying to you, Kaz, like, what do you do with your other hand? And you were like, oh, you'll get ideas. You'll get ideas. I think my idea at the moment is to get a keyboard. But
there must be more with you as well.
Just be punk rock finger.
Punk rock finger.
Yeah. I'm going to get a coat and put my hand in my pocket. That's what I'm going to do.
I relied on the wire of the microphone for at least a good 8 months, I think. Or like a hand behind the back seems to be something I did a lot.
It's
just
for me like
that, doesn't it?
I know we were chatting about it when we spoke to you a little while ago, Kaz, but when everyone came to Ipswich and we went to Rendlesham for the Knife Club practice, and like there was like me, you and Joe.
The Knife Club widows.
We were like, just like for the 10-hour practice or whatever it was, just in an air base that we talked about in the last episode where casual practice, just like trying to entertain ourselves.
For 10 hours in the
For 10 hours.
hours practice, yeah.
Like,
I got 6 whole songs done.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good fun. I remember that as a really good day.
It was productive for us. You guys bonded. It was fine. No one got heat stroke.
In the morning, me and Zoe were sitting in your flat, pretty much where you're sitting now, and I was playing through things on the acoustic guitar, and I remember Zoe going, "Are you nervous?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty nervous." And you went, "Pints of vodka." Pints of vodka will sort everything.
It's literally my answer to everything.
Oh, dear.
Well, we did it, and it's a thing that exists, and it'll be really fun to actually gig it at some point.
I can't wait. I literally can't.
I'm kind of in awe of the fact that you all like pulled an album out. There's a proper good album. Like,
I'm really proud of
was it like one full band practice or two?
Yeah,
full
there was
band
only
practices?
one practice where every member was there. I was like, I don't want to. I'm just going to do vocals in the next band, and I think I played bass in pretty much every practice, other than 2. I think there was 2 I didn't. But yeah,
I'm really pleased we did it.
It's a really good record. You should all be very proud of yourselves.
Yeah, you should. I think you guys were made for like lockdown writing as well, because I think you're probably the only band or one of few bands that are actually being productive. But we cannot write. We cannot write unless we're in the same room together.
So yeah, we said this earlier. Like, Knife Club have been a lot more proactive over lockdown than Casual have. Like,
definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you for recording all the vocals for the nightclub stuff. Poor Shawn has had to like cope with me having existential crises. He's going, I can't do it. And he's going, you can. You know the songs. You wrote the songs. You know the songs. It's fine. I'm going like in the flat, but like we've got it done. And it like I think the lockdown like acoustic stuff came together really well, and like there may be other stuff on the horizon. So I understand.
But we can discuss that in a bit.
We're building walls on a shaken foundation, but we're too busy to notice. And when we're done here, we'll leave pretty houses for a world where no one can live.
So now we've talked about the life, death, and everything in between of Knife Club.
Yeah, sorry.
Bev, have you rehearsed this episode?
So, Stodge that album, latest one. So this is kind of out of order, as in the release time. So this one was originally going to come out in April, wasn't it? But we pushed it back to, well, they pushed it back until October due to all the fun that was happening. So yeah, it was another beautiful album. Gatefold as well.
Cool.
Neil's artwork is always beautiful. He's such a brilliant illustrator.
So creative. Like every single video that he puts out as well, I can't help but watch it in awe. Like
How
incredible.
How can one person have all that in their head? Do you know what I mean?
Well, we were talking about Swami in a previous episode, and I did tell Kurt to fuck off for being amazing at everything, and I think Niels probably deserves that as well.
Niels, for being amazing at everything.
But yeah, he's very much DIY. As in, I think there's only like one video that they've done that they've let somebody else actually, take ownership of it. The rest they've kind of painstakingly made all the videos, especially like the stop animation and all that kind of stuff.
They take ages to make those things.
Oh, I know. The most recent one they did with all the like flowers growing up with the lyrics and stuff was I just could not stop watching it. It was amazing.
Yes, I'm trying to remember what track that was for.
Didn't we do some vocals for a track off this album when we were last over in Denmark as well?
Yeah, we did.
Which was also, 3 years ago, 2 years ago?
And I was also hammered then.
Yeah, me too.
For a while.
Right at the start of when I joined the band, actually, because I remember thinking, well, I can't be scared of doing this anymore. I'll just have to do it.
But Knife Club and Follow Your Dreams were booked to go and play in Aalborg as well, which is worth mentioning because we have such close connections with our Danish friends.
Yeah.
And it was going to be absolutely lovely to go and play in one of the best venues that I've ever been to, certainly. Follow Your Dreams, Knife Club, big, like, load of people would have come with us. Like, a few people had bought their flights already. And I remember chatting to Trolls from Mighty Midgets and from 1003, and he was like, it's probably not going to happen. The people in Copenhagen were going, oh, we'll see. And about 2 weeks before they went, yeah, probably ain't going to happen. In Aalborg, they were like, no, it's unlikely this is going to happen. But that would have been so special.
Devastating that it didn't come together, it really is.
And I'm this close to the bottom of my 11% beer, so I'm going to be soppy. But seeing Stöj Snak in Denmark is a proper, like, bring a tear to your eye, shiver down your spine moment. Like, the lyrics are so important. Like, they're so amazing. And everything that we believe about the punk scene and stuff. And then such close mates in Denmark, like Trolls, Niels, and everyone from Midgets, all of those people. It's just amazing, and it epitomizes everything that's so special about everything we've got in this punk scene, really.
There's very few albums, I think, that, like, I've done it with both the Stöj Snak albums where we've put them on and I've just gone and run myself a bath and just sat in the bath and just listened to it. Like, I don't wash. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be in the bath, but it was like, it just felt appropriate. I was just like, literally just let it kind of just like listen to everything. And like, he's so articulate and he gets his point across so beautifully. And I don't know.
I think
stunning.
What we said in the last episode as well. I think the fact that the first time we saw Stöj Snak was at Kaz and Big Hands' wedding.
Yeah, it was.
And like, we had already had the album, we had 7-inch, and like, we're already big fans by that point. But we'd never seen him live. And to be like in that setting where, like, where everyone who was there fucking loved him.
Yeah.
And everyone was really happy. It was a really, like, the fact that it was your wedding as well, where it was a proper emotional high. It was just really lovely.
Genuinely think that I stood there watching them just like that.
Yeah. I remember when we went to Denmark, and like, it gets me in the feels every time I listen to it anyway.
Yeah.
But I remember we were in that theatre, Andy, that was next to 1005, and they would play. It was literally like a tiny little theatre, squished in little theatre chairs, and Stöj was playing. It was just Niels at this point, I think, as well. I don't think it was before it was like a full band. And Niels was playing at the front, and then what's the can't remember the song title, but there's the song where it's like na 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 na, na at the end.
Yeah.
And he took everyone out of the theatre and into the street. And it just, I'm like down this alley, so in front of the venue is like an alley, and everyone was just following him singing down the alley, and it literally, I almost cried. Like, it was just got me right in the feels. It was honestly one of my most favourite moments.
Goosebumps in it.
Oh yeah, exactly, full on. And that's what I always get whenever I watch Stöj. I always get goosebumps.
Yeah,
Are we
absolutely
all-
agree.
Are we all sticking with Stöj, Snak? Is that how it's said?
It's not, but we're committed now. Talking of artists that have been really active over lockdown, especially early summer lockdown, the whole band definitely were. They did kind of whole videos where they just showed how they wrote a song, just wrote it. Did they produce one in like an hour or something like that? Getting everyone to write all the different parts, and yeah, really active over lockdown, doing lots of really interesting things. But yeah, the cracking album. This is a joint release again, organised by the band across lots of labels. I know, like 11. Yeah, another beautiful record from them. So I don't have a segue this time. Go on, Andy, you can do it.
Funk off.
Hey.
Well, yeah. So Bobby Funk are my favourite live band in the world, and we met these through revenge gigs, and it's everything I want from a band. Their delivery, it's funny. It's on that line of satire. It's just clever. The lyrics are brilliant. It's trashy. It's fast. It's well played. The riffs are really, really clever. Like the riff in "I'm a Cat." Fuck me, that guitar is amazing. They're just everything I want from a band. So that's my bit about Bobby Funk. But
I loved it so much. I had to get the lyrics from "I'm a Cat" tattooed on me. I was like, I don't know if it'd be backwards though. Would it be backwards?
No, it won't be backwards.
Okay. I don't know how the fucking internet works.
I'll flip it if it is.
In
or I might
reverse.
leave it.
And the really funny thing is I messaged him and was like, what's the words? Just to make sure I got it right.
Can you see that at all?
Yes, yeah, we can.
Like,
Amazing.
as you say, they've got that right level of frantic and that kind of, I don't know, like even the harmonies and stuff are so, like, the way they build and everything is just fucking spot on.
I love Bobby Funk so much.
First time we saw him again, I was just like, oh, where are they? Where have these been? You know,
It's just so silly and so chaotic, but yet also like proper good hardcore.
yeah.
Yeah,
And like,
I think
There's more underlying than the silliness, though.
it's kind of got a kind of like Jello Biafro kind of intelligence
yeah,
to it all.
absolutely.
Like the whole kind of like just the like political commentary side of it.
Yeah.
Like, it is very, very good. But also it's just good if you're not listening to the lyrics and just running around in circles.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
It's like an onion, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like an onion, you just peel off the layers. Right?
The video for "I'm a Cat" just absolutely blew up. I think it's the most watched video we ever posted on our Facebook page. It just
But also, I think, is it like, I don't know whose cat it was, but Martin on the cover, was that like
I think that's Ben and Liz,
house
isn't
members
it?
of Ben and Liz? I think he is a handsome cat. He is a handsome cat.
Emma will want me to tell people that she took that photo.
Well done, Emma.
Well done, Emma.
Great photography skills.
But he looks like a very regal cat with his white tash. He looks like a handsome cat.
But
I
to
was
go
just
back
thinking,
to the whole idea that you should be involved in the scene on a bigger level, like Bobby Funk, some of the gigs they put on, I mean, I played in Revenge for a long time, as did Big Hands, and I would say my favourite Revenge gig is when we played on a boat in Cornwall. It was 8 miles out to sea, and it sold out in very quickly. There was only 100 tickets, and you went in the room where we were playing. It's a classic example of like, how are 100 people getting in here? It's not happening. And people were crowd surfing, and they were having to stoop to push people up to the roof. And we were 8 miles out at sea, so it was rocking. It was absolutely wild. It was everything I expect from Cornwall. It was everything I expect from Bobby Funk. We stayed with them that night, and they're good mates. They're fucking wicked. And it is like Revenge had some big gigs, or like with a lot more people there, but that gig epitomized Revenge for me. It was
absolutely amazing. Like, it genuinely does.
We were gutted not to go.
I was saying before that I was impressed with their album and just how well they nailed it, because they're definitely one of them bands that I kind of put in the same category as Mighty Midgets and Beat the Red Light. When you first saw them, you just instantly blown away by them, and it was just like, wow. And you kind of think, how are they going to do this on record? Because but they just did it somehow, and it was just every single song on there is a banger.
Yeah, totally. That record is brilliant, like from start to finish. It's just such a good record.
I think we had it and genuinely put it on in our record player, and it didn't leave for a good like month, 2 months. Like, it was just like getting from work. Put Bobby Funk on then. You know, it's just like, come on. Be very good.
I could just listen to I'm a Cat on repeat. It's my life motto, to be fair.
To give them an interesting background story as well, though, before we knew them very well, they did actually pick up a copy of the first TNS compilation in all ages. I think they might correct me on this, but they picked one up, and then they ended up running their own label. And when I got good mates with them, they were like, yeah, it was really amazing to see people who had the same ethos as us doing stuff. So, you know, what a nice thing. But yeah, but the more people do stuff like that, it's like we've said in the last episode, little scenes connecting together, little people with the same ideas connecting together and doing things that work together makes for a big scene, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Pockets of scenes everywhere, isn't it? That's what it is. It's a pocket of the same scene in various places that when you come together, it's like, boom.
Exactly that. Yeah, just...
Do you want to alternate sides? Right. I know what you've got. I'll do the other.
I don't know which one you think I've got. Okay. This is your oh no.
I thought I could see it at the bottom of the screen.
Well, I did a twist. So this is a split between Pizzatramp and the Domestics. And this follows on from the 5-inch, where they wanted to do 3 full proper songs up, you know, as short and as quick as possible. And then, so this was just them doing one track per 12-inch side. They're both like 10 minutes long. And that's something that wasn't, we kept that quiet until it actually came out and people could actually hear it. So I thought, that was a really nice touch. This has just come from Jim and James talking shit with each other and thinking of stupid ideas.
That record is genuinely, it's like a punk rock opera. Like, it is so fucking good. Like, each track on its own holds up so fucking well. Like,
I genuinely, when I heard that for the first time, I texted everyone in the Domestics and was just like, this is good. It's fucking well good. Like, it works so well as a like coherent song, but also you don't get bored of listening to like a 12-minute song or whatever. It's like it's so good.
Yeah, I remember speaking to Big Hans about them, and you were very much against the idea of playing for 12 minutes straight.
Yeah.
I think like
it's not the idea of playing 12 minutes straight, it's being able to play for 12 minutes.
Well, I've spoken to Simon since about it, and he said that like people have asked since they've like obviously recorded it, people have been saying, are you ever going to do it live? Is there ever going to be something to do live? And he's like, no, I can't do that live. It's not going to happen live. It's like, because they recorded it all in one take, obviously. But he's like, no, we're not going to do it live. That's never going to happen. But I don't know. But then, you know, domestics, they only normally do like 20-minute, 25-minute sets. So, like,
I think
they'll take up half their set if they did do it live. I don't know.
I think what really not shocked me about it as such, but because both bands are renowned for playing very, like what you were saying, like short, sharp fucking songs. Do you know what I mean? Like 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. Like, I think to do a 12-minute song that hangs together that fucking well. Do you know what I mean? And like, it flows really well.
And it goes. It's not just like the same song for 12 minutes or whatever. It goes up and down. It's got its peaks and its troughs.
It works.
And it's got like it's a really.
It really surprised me. It genuinely really surprised me on both bands. Like that, it worked so fucking well.
It's just interesting to see people challenging themselves, isn't it? You know, the punk scene isn't about like fucking pop singles as much as I like pop singles. But it's not about that, is it? It's about ideas, isn't it?
Yeah.
You should be trying things out. You know, it's really interesting when people put themselves out of their comfort zone, which we said before. And that's something you need to support, and it's something that makes exciting music as well.
And if you look at this in conjunction with the 5-inch and like see them as a pair, and like, you know, you've got those 3 minutes, 3 songs in a minute,
like
and then this, like, you know, it's just really, really good.
Very clever.
So basically what happened was we were doing this podcast, the previous episode we did just before this one, and I picked up the wrong Pisser album. So this is the Pisser 7-inch, although if I hold it closer it looks like it could be a 12-inch. There's no distance perception.
I've got the 7-inch. Some lovely colours.
But yeah, I guess going back to what we were saying about the previous release, like seeing bands do interesting things, challenging themselves. I guess a supergroup which has come up. Supergroup is an ironic thing, isn't it? It's just like it's people who've not really played together coming together to try and play something new and interesting, and seeing what comes of that. And especially in a lockdown period where you can't get out to a gig, seeing people do interesting things with music, trying things out, bringing new ideas together. And we mentioned it in the previous episode, but the whole idea of the sax with the hardcore sound, it's just different. It's
sax and hardcore. I think it's such a great combo. You just don't expect it to be together, but it works so perfectly.
It's like there's lots of scarcore bands that have brass sections in them, but this is very much hardcore with a saxophone. No, it's a different thing.
Yeah. And the saxophone just takes the melody, doesn't it? Like the vocals tend to carry the melody.
Yeah.
But with this, the sax carries the melody, and the vocals are quite percussive, aren't they? They're quite aggressive. They're just relentless.
And I think it is worth saying again, although we've said it before, but like James is just relentless and puts out so much good stuff all the time and works really hard and does loads of stuff. And this is another good thing he's done.
Yeah. Just throwing ideas out there. Sorry,
I really like the aesthetic across the 3 release. Well, one release that's coming after, what is it? TNS102. But yeah, across the three of them, I really like this kind of just uniquely theirs, isn't it? In a way, not uniquely theirs, but you know it's them.
Yeah, very recognisable as a pisser.
Yeah, yeah. '98.
Wow, we've got 98 releases.
So
Mary
Get them
Poppins.
to do that album from the first release as well.
For about 98 years.
yeah, so
This
Harajan
album
were
could have
on-
been TNS10 or something, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, from the tracks are from there. So this is Harajan, self-titled album that's been a long time coming. It's a double LP because it wouldn't fit on one.
Nice.
And
Like 20 years of
yeah,
work,
so Harajan were TNS on our third release, split with John Player Specials. So it's very well mirrored.
It was so worth the wait, though, wasn't it?
It's a stunning album.
Amazing.
Absolutely
it looks amazing.
outstanding.
We've got yellow and black vinyl, so one yellow, one black,
We get
which kind of mirrors the artwork beautifully.
I absolutely love everything about this album. I can't pick a fault in it.
When I moved to Manchester in 2001, I think, like my old band, which me and Big Hans were in, McGraw, we played with Harajan before Revenge even started. And then that's when we were like having ideas about starting a fanzine and stuff. We were like, these bands are wicked. We did some CDRs that we taped to the front of fanzines. And we go back that far with Harajan. And it's just ridiculous to actually get it out. Like, these songs properly recorded is something amazing for everyone who was involved in that Manchester scene in the mid 2000s. And they stand up. They're still fucking sick songs, aren't they?
Very good, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, I guess, because they kind of went on hiatus, I don't know, in 2010, something like that. And we kind of always pecked their heads about playing MPF and stuff. So we finally got them to play MPF. And I guess then they kind of went, they enjoyed that and decided that they wanted to lay down the tracks. And I think they originally meant just to do them as, demos, just so they had a kind of a record of them. And I think one thing led to another and they finally got them recorded. So yeah, it was great to work with them to get this out. I think the whole package is amazing and really does the album justice.
I think we've said this in previous episodes quite a lot, but the point of running a record label on a level is recording things, is documenting things. And I think both me and you would have been devastated. And of course, all the band would have been devastated if there was never any documentation of this band existing and these songs. And I think I would have been always a bit gutted if these songs had never been properly recorded. And they've been recorded so well. Kurt from Swami's done an
amazing job on it.
Good at
Fucking
everything.
brilliant.
we look
really
forward
happy
to
with
getting
that.
ours.
Yeah, we haven't got it yet because we ordered it with our pre-order for Revenge for TNS100, so we haven't received it yet.
Well, you will have received it by the time this podcast goes.
Yeah,
Sorry for dating that there.
But the split, like Harajan have always been a band that like we've got the split with John Player Specials and like always really liked them. And I didn't know until like listening to an earlier episode of this podcast that the singer from Harajan sung for Black Star Dog
I didn't know that.
Was it on the Rush Home from Love?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, and like that's one of my favourite like kind of dub records that I own.
That one.
Isn't it? Like,
yeah.
he's got such range.
I love hearing people try to say Rush Home who aren't from Manchester as well.
Rush Hour from Dab.
I think I said it personally. I don't know what you're talking about. I think I nailed that.
It's very difficult being the only Southerners.
You did very well.
I can't believe we're nearly up to 100.
Dun, dun, dun.
We're going to 99.
Stay alert, stay safe. Both go back to work, be brave. 'Cause that earns them a decent wage. And it's not their lives at risk today. It's not your bills they have to pay.
This is a really originally named 7-inch from a little known band called Knife Club.
So basically what we did, we got asked to record a song for a charity compilation that was acoustic songs. So we kind of threw something together because we were all in lockdown, recorded on literally USB mics. A couple of us got more into it and sort of bought some slightly better equipment after that. but like the first track was literally just shouting down a USB mic, and we quite liked it, so we did some more because we were all in lockdown, and then we ended up doing a full EP. And I don't know, it was an interesting thing to do because I actually had to try and sing, which is something I've never done in my entire musical history.
Pushing those boundaries.
I learned I can actually play to a click track as well.
And weren't the drummer, you had to play Con.
That's my table. I put my wine on that most of the night.
How did you find it, Zoe? I mean, I know how you found it, but you can tell the world.
It's so like we had a bit of a conversation, didn't we? Because I was like, how do you think I should do it? And you were like, just do it how it comes out. And I was like, well, I don't know how it's going to come out. Like I can't shout it. And you're like, why can't you shout it? And I was like, because I can't. I haven't heard it loud. I don't know how to do it. I'm just gonna have to sing it. And it was existential crisis times 10.
I mean, your vocals sound beautiful, though.
Yeah. I literally walk around the house going, "Stay safe, gonna run."
You know the trouble is though, like in your head when all you want to do is sound like Brody Dahl, and that's all you've wanted to do since you were 13, and then it just comes out as like, you're like, that's not how I want to sound.
Yeah, but you've got range, Zoe. You can do a shout and you can do a sing, and I think that's really, really something quite nice. Because
it's not Brody Dahl though, is it?
Well, you're not Brody Dahl, but you're Zoe, so it's fine.
Nah.
Thank you. No, like genuinely,
incredible.
like that is the first time I've ever really genuinely sung in front of anyone, probably you included. I'm quite private when it comes to singing. I'm a washing up singer. Do you know what I mean? If I had showers, I'd sing in the shower, but I don't. I take it. Do you know what I mean? But
you only ever really sang it in front of Shawn anyway, because we all recorded at home.
Yeah. But it was still terrifying because there was still like a mic, and I was like, "What about the neighbours? They'll hear. It's gonna be awful."
But like literally before every recording, Zoe was like, "Shall I sing how I sing to Casual Nausea, or shall I sing?" And I was like, "Well, that's entirely up to you. Like, what do you want to do?" And she's like, "Well, I don't know." And I was like, "Well, it's up to you. I don't know what you should do. Do what you want to do."
I don't know if I'm going to be able to explain it very well, and I probably can't but it's a very different thing. Like like shouting along to stuff. So like with the Knife Club, like the album, like we'd been in a room, we'd played it with drums, with like all the instruments loud. So you kind of have to like force yourself to kind of compete with all of that noise. Do you know what I mean? But when you're kind of working on something that you've never like pushed your voice for, you don't know what you're supposed to do, how it's like meant to sound, and all you're competing with is your living room. You know what I mean? Where even whispering sounds like unnaturally loud. You know, it was fucking like it was weird. Like I don't want to sound like I almost said it was fucking awful. It wasn't awful at all, but it was a very it was really hard. It was really difficult, and like I'm not even gonna lie, I may have done a tear at some point. It's fine.
Well, don't worry, Zoe. I did, as you well know.
I think
And that's what I mean. Straight like, and that's going back to what we were saying earlier. You kind of realise that everyone's in the same boat, and everyone's like, it's self pressure, isn't it? You
I
know?
think we should like probably mention that at one point when we were recording, because I don't have a clue what I'm doing either, and like I was trying to help you with it.
No, you did brilliant.
We had to resort to like Ben Hanna literally taking control of our Mac and setting everything up for us. And like going, I think that should all work now. And he literally having a Zoom chat with Ben and him setting everything up on Google on GarageBand.
Which is basically us ringing Ben going, Ben, help!
And
help us!
He literally set everything up and went, you should be all right now and left us to it.
Well, I think Ben probably regretted encouraging us at one point because he helped me set up, because I was the first acoustic song I literally was a USB mic that I had for doing podcasts that cost 12 quid. And then I was bored at home. I got like this device that was all right, and I could plug a decent mic into it, and I thought, all right, this is better. And I was constantly just messaging Ben, how do I do this? How do I do this? And then I'd send him something, and he'd go, yeah, that's fine. And then I'd listen back and go, no, actually, I've done it again. So I imagine he probably regretted encouraging me.
He literally took control of our computer to the point where he was moving his mouse around on our screen, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, set everything up. And did the whole job, didn't he? At one point,
we're very, very
we're
grateful.
Like, thank you very much, Ben. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah. But I think the thing that's worth saying about this release is, I hope this series of podcasts kind of suggests this idea. But we've always had the idea that releasing music is a documentation of things that are happening, things that people are doing, and it goes back quite a long way now. And I think the reason we sort of pushed through doing this Nightclub 7-inch was because it was very much a product of the time. Like, really, you had to record in your own house. You had to. It was socially distanced, and the songs are about like being in lockdown and things like that. And I think like a record should be of its time, shouldn't it?
What I love about that record as well is that all of this sort of song subject matter, no one discussed it first. I mean, it wasn't like this is going to be a lockdown.
Hey, Nara.
It wasn't like this is going to be a lockdown EP. Do you know what I mean? That was the subject matter that came out. Do you know what I mean? Because everyone was kind of in their own little bubbles and everyone was kind of existing within their own worlds, and like that's what people were writing about. And I think that made me really happy. Again, it's kind of like shared sort of mind and shared consciousness. Everyone's kind of going through the same sort of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I nearly swore then, but I wasn't sure if little lady had disappeared.
No.
Seems like we're never gonna make it. And will its present become past? Whispers from when the old world faded. How did it fall so?
Well, that's shit.
You can't see that. That's just white.
Just white. So this is
It is a
the
nice
CD version of. Oh, I haven't even got CD in here. Take that.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Must be in the CD player. So yeah, our compilation to celebrate reaching 100 releases, featuring a load of bands. And
Very good.
are you happy with this?
I can't actually believe that we've got to 100 releases. So I'm going to tell the story that I always tell. But
Don't get it wrong.
our friend Mikey, when we got the first release, he said, "Why have you called it TNS001? As if you're going to release 100 releases." And you know, at the time, we obviously laughed about it as if that was ever going to be a thing. But we have, and wow, fucking hell! And I think it's important to say before we go on about it for a bit that TNS is a collective, and it wouldn't happen without the community. It wouldn't happen without everyone who's been involved. It wouldn't happen without people going, "What can I do? How can I help you? What can I do to get involved?" It wouldn't happen without all these little pockets of exciting scenes. It wouldn't happen without all the bands helping each other out. It's you know, it's an amazing milestone for us as we set it up, but you know, it is a collective, and it always will be, and it's about people coming together and doing exciting things, and I think that needs to be noted. But wow, 100 releases, how the fuck has that happened?
Hey, that's the sign you like to hear. Cheers to that, 100 releases.
It is ridiculous, but it's you know, it's that kind of thing where you achieve one thing and you kind of go, "Oh, I can do that." I guess like with the first release, we're like, "All right, yeah, we can do that. We'll do a few more," and then we'll do an album. Then we'll, you know, it just kind of like slowly builds, and then you look back and go, "Oh, that is actually as a whole thing ridiculous." But you kind of just accept each little incremental growth as you go along. But yeah, this is kind of like been, I don't know, we've stewed on this for a while, haven't we? And what it was going to be, or what, because there's so many different options. Like it could be, this is a track of every 100 releases, or this is kind of like a look back on the label. But all those kind of things felt a bit wrong in that we always want to kind of look forward, even though we've just done 10-part series looking back. But
it's been lovely though. It's been lovely to watch.
The reality of our memory is that we don't really look back on these things. We just kind of just carry on. But
yeah, and if you want to proof of that, just watch the previous.
Let's be honest, you're just both getting to the point now where you realise you're not actually being able to remember everything. So now it's out there on the internet. You haven't got to anymore.
I thought I had the best memory out of me and Bev and Big Hands, and I think I probably do. I think I do, but it's still not very good. It's like
this release has kind of just got tracks of bands that either recently released something or got stuck. You know, they're still active, kind of from a TNS perspective, and then we've got, you know, a few other bands that we think are cool, and we wanted to do it on gatefold vinyl, so kind of like that limited us to 80 minutes. So that's why we've only got this amount of bands on. We could obviously put 100 more amazing bands from the scene, but that was our limiting factor.
Yeah, I think the hardest thing for me was there was a good 8, maybe 10 bands that I thought I really want them on, but I think we talked quite a lot about the transition to vinyl on this podcast, and I think this compilation had to be on vinyl, didn't it? It had to be, and you know, so we were limited to that amount of bands, but that doesn't mean those bands that we didn't include aren't part of our story. In fact, they're very much part of our story. But yeah, I think we had to do something that was of the time, and I think it was really cool to include bands like that we haven't necessarily released stuff for. I think that
or
was
even worked with
important. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was hard work, kind of getting it all to fit together. But I don't know, we put a lot of thought into orders on our compilation, don't we? Like how it flows and how things fit together. So yeah, it probably will feel different between listening on CD and vinyl because you've got those like natural stops. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. I think it's a good snapshot at what we are at the moment. And there's 100 different pictures in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to stroke his ego, but the photographer's quite good.
For us as a band, like, well, not really for us as a band, but for me personally, like the TNS, the family thing that came out with the Safety Pin magazine, the CD, that was like a really important thing for me because like growing up, compilations were a big deal for me. All of like the Fat Record compilations and like even the Epitaph compilations, all that shit was a real big deal for me when I was 14, 15. Totally. And like the family, like one, because it was a compilation CD that came out of a magazine. And secondly, because it was called The Family and it was like something we were all part of and like something important. That was really like, I was really excited about that and I was proper chuffed to be involved and like that was a big deal. But then this is something else. This is like,
it's a big thing.
This is a big thing and it's like the, you know, being on a vinyl compilation like this. And I don't think we really have in the part. I don't know. We've been on like 7-inch, been on lots
this
of.
This is different.
Yeah, this is different. Like, this is like,
you know,
and the fact that like it's a big deal for me. Like in the way that I got into music and the importance of compilations for me personally. Like all the different compilations that have made a real big difference to the music that I've listened to and the bands that I've discovered. Like. Right back to like the, you know, like alternative tentacles compilations and all kinds of different.
But this documents us, isn't it?
It's just a really important thing that I'm really chuffed to be part of. If that makes sense.
No,
that's really nice to hear.
I think moving forward, like I think like. Someone actually said to me, "Is this the end? Then are you drawing a line under it?" And I was like, "No, fuck off, no. Like we'll keep going." And I mean, I don't want to speak for both of us or everyone involved in TNS. You know, like everyone, like. But as long as I'm excited by music, I want to keep putting music out there. As long as I'm excited by music that's coming out, I want people to hear it, and that's why you do a label, isn't it? And I think from a very early age, I thought doing a label is a really nice thing to do, and if that can bring people together, then amazing. And there's lots of other things that can bring people together, but if this plays a small part in that, then fucking brilliant. And to sit back and think 100 releases is mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing because I remember the gigs where there was no one fucking there. There was no one. And you're like, why am I carrying on doing this? I'm just going to keep doing it. And it's stubbornness. Just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And we've got to this point. Why stop now? There's so many mint bands out there. There's so many awesome people. And I think everything that's happened recently with COVID and that, it makes community more and more important, doesn't it?
In an internet world where, you know, you've got infinite possibilities, I think community and scenes and, you know, the possibility of bringing like-minded people, you know, wherever they live, it doesn't matter. Because, like, people kind of disparage the modern world as saying, you know, people don't necessarily know their neighbours, but you know lots of people that are like-minded in your community a lot more than, you know, it doesn't necessarily need to be geographical. But yeah, like you're saying, it's like as long as there's great music out there. I think another side thing is as long as we can do it justice as well, and we have the, you know, the effort and time and inkling to actually get stuff out there and add something to it, because at the end of the day, bands can do this themselves, and if we can't add anything to it, there's no point us doing it. But I feel we've learned a lot over 100 releases, and we can actually, you know, get things out to a wider audience and actually have a point in us, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I think something you've always said to me is you were like, I don't think we're like we're like a case study of everything that's going on in the DIY scene. There's loads of other things that are happening, and we're just a small snippet of that. And our story is an interesting story, but it's happening everywhere, isn't it? There's people putting out records, there's people making music, there's people doing interesting things, and
you just have to look at
be supported.
You just have to look at the back of a load of records we've talked about today, where there's 10 5, 10 different labels all out there in different parts of the UK, across the world, doing exactly the same thing as we're doing at the same scale. And I think, this, it's weird to think about, because the scale we're operating on, if we get 150 sales, then that's amazing. Or something, something works. It's quite small if you think about it, but multiply that up. People buy 1 in 10 records. You've got to 1,000 people, all like-minded and all get on and do the same thing. So
it's a beautiful thing.
It makes me feel like we're part of something bigger than just us and just what we're doing. If
So
that
lots
makes
of little
sense.
scenes all kind of coexisting.
All of these scenes coming together for the and like what the TNS100 will kind of document the whole wider scene is fucking awesome. And I'm like really chuffed to be a part of it.
Proud.
Yeah,
Super proud.
It's really awesome.
I've had it in my car pretty much since the CDs were delivered. I've not taken it out. I listen to it every single day. I might drive 2 minutes down the road.
You two have got to pack them all as well. So let's have a big thank you to Big Hands and Kaz for packing all them fucking records.
I've seen their shed in the 3D world.
You know what? I was in the garage earlier just getting a load of it ready for when they hopefully arrive next week. And the one thought I couldn't get out of my head is when we were copying McGraw CDs to go on the front of the TNS compilation, TNS fanzine. And we were even thinking, how can we make this more professional? I know, we'll put stickers on the front of the CD, a pair of scissors, and cut the hole out of the middle of the CD. So it's actually the difference between that and what's coming out next week. It's just it's mind blowing.
It's weird
That is
to think
amazing.
that like from our relationship with TNS, that was like something that happened that was happening miles away from where we were. Like I think I can't even remember what our first kind of relationship was. I think possibly. I don't know, but we've had like compilations and because we've had the first compilation on disc for a while.
Yeah, we've had it for a little while, I think.
I don't know when we got it, but it's like it's always been something that we've been aware of and it's happening.
It's a beautiful thing. Really
and now we feel part of it, and it's nice.
Can we just have a shout out for Strummer Camp actually for being Strummer Camp has made me so many extra friends. I've met so many lovely people at Strummer Camp.
I think Strummer Camp helped build all this. We've talked about it briefly in previous episodes, but thank you. We definitely need to give it a shout out, because I think Strummer Camp was the first thing that enabled us to get 15, 20 bands together in one weekend and proper form those friendships.
It's it's been great going through all 100, Andy. I've enjoyed it. It's made me remember things, and it's nice because I don't regularly pick up the records that we've released and look in detail at the covers and try and think back to how they came about and things like that. So I've enjoyed that.
I listen to them, not all of them obviously, but I listen to a lot of them. But I don't. As you say, I don't look through the cover. I don't like.
Yeah, a lot of the time it'd be streaming or something that I'll listen to it rather than. It's more likely, and it's very rare that I'll sit down and pull out the insert and have a look at all the information and try and think back to how they came about.
We had our vinyl night last night where we listened to all the releases, and it was great.
Well, that's amazing. Well, I was going to say, if nothing else, this has taken me back to my roots where I used to sit down with a record, and it'd be a CD at the time, and it'd be the only thing I could afford that month or 6 weeks. And I'd sit down with a lyric sheet and I'd be playing it over and over again. And I've been doing similar to what you two have been doing, like having nights where I'll just listen back to a few records. And Zoe and Shawn were telling me earlier, like they have Friday night where it's like record night, and they prepped for this. They prepped for this.
We did our homework.
The thing is, though, it's made me very bitter about the releases I've missed out on. Like the stuff we haven't got. It's like, why? Oh,
why haven't you?
We'll grab it. We'll grab it at some point. Next payday. We'll go through the archive.
No, the thing is, if it's still available, that's okay. But if it's gone and it's sold out,
that's a whole different thing. Discogs. We'll hit up Discogs.
Get on Discogs and
Right, should we call that an episode? Because I don't know how long we've gone on for, but it feels like we've probably done.
It's been lovely.
Hours.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Well done, everyone. Well
done.
Thank you to everyone who's listened to this series. It's really meant a lot that people have sent us such nice words. You're fucking lovely, and we are going to carry it on. So every 10 releases, we're going to do a new episode. So nice one.
See you later.
Surprise, Bev's not been sick yet.
See you later.
Bye.
Back cow.
I drank the beer in the fridge, 'cause it reminds me of you. I drank the beer in the fridge. I know you didn't want me to, and I'm so tired. Yeah, I can't stop sleeping, and my head won't relax. It just keeps leaping from bad to worse. I drank the beer in the fridge.